I'm here to tell you all about workplace motivation today. First, you have to understand people's needs. By allowing your employees to take a personality test or workplace test, you're going to allow them to not only get to know themselves better, but to know those around them and know the people that they work with and who they work best with. One of these tests could possibly be the 4-color test. This test puts people into one of the 4 colors: red, blue, green, and yellow. This puts them in categories based on how they view the world and the workplace challenges that they're faced with. By allowing people to take this test, they can work with other people in their same color or opposite colors and help themselves understand people that they work with in a better way. Another one of the tests they could take could be what's called a Strengths Quest test. This is a little bit more of an in-depth test that tells people their top 5 strengths. This allows them to figure out what they're good at and what they're not great at, and how they can be helped by other people around them. Next, you need to know what motivates people. People are motivated by everything, but not in the same way. What works for one person isn't always going to work for someone else. Two main ways that you can easily identify what works for each person and how they work in each way is intrinsic motivation, which is being motivated by yourself and your past accomplishments. Extrinsic motivation is being motivated by outside things, like deadlines or goals. People are self-motivated. So what does that mean? Self-motivation is something that everybody has, but some people have deeper motivation than others. We're all motivated in 2 ways. First, by primary drivers. This means that we're motivated to have a roof over our heads, food in our stomachs, and clothes on our body. In order to truly motivate people, you have to dig into their secondary motivation, which is the second way that you can see how people are motivated. Secondary motivation can be described as motivation from previous achievements. How can we build off of that? Allow people to receive feedback and be open to change while treating everybody as equals. Those 2 things are huge in the workplace. And there's 3 main ways that you can go about doing this. Putting in place incentives or rewards, like Employee of the Month or a luncheon. Goal setting or initiatives such as deadlines. If you give someone a deadline or you help them set a goal, they're going to want to accomplish it. Lastly, you can implement exciting projects, competitions, or meetings to boost people's excitement and allow them to enjoy their work, and not just do it. The biggest way to allow people to stay motivated is by giving them feedback. If employees don't receive feedback on their work or their lack of it, they'll have an even greater chance of continuing to do what they've been doing for years. Feedback allows employees to not only see what they're doing wrong and what they can improve in, but it also allows them to set more specific goals for the future, and it allows you and your employees to be on the same page about things and to be open to new alternatives. Making changes. If an issue continues to grow, people are going to want change, and you should look into that. Since people find motivation in so many different ways, making changes can help so much. Ask what the environment contributes to the workplace. Things like schedules, desk arrangements, and even decor can distract or take away from motivation in the workplace. By just changing these things, it can change people's minds of thinking, and it can change their habits, which allows them to be open to change in other bigger ways. Lastly, allow everybody to be equal. Having a more structured way of hiring people can allow them to feel needed. This can also motivate them to work harder and to enjoy what they're doing. If everyone's hired in the same way and goes through the same training process with a mentor, they're able to work towards an incentive that lengthens the feeling of the new job excitement. Risky motivation. This is just one example that I love. In the book, The Heart of Change by John Kotter, he gives an example of what he calls risky change. He tells the story of a young woman who worked for a branch of factories. She found out one day that the factories she was working for were using 424 different kinds of gloves. She traveled around to every branch and picked up one of each glove that the factories were ordering. She took all of the gloves she had collected and put them in a big pile on her employer's desk. She then brought him in and explained to him that the company would use almost $1 billion in the next 5 years if they continued to spend the way they did on the gloves. By ordering from one person, they were going to be able to save much more money. This is a risky change that wasn't that isn't normally excitable, but she did it and it made a change. Allow change to spark motivation. Without new practices, people fall into the same pattern of work and of low motivation. In order to change that, companies just need to change. They have to start with allowing everyone to figure out their own personalities. By figuring out their own, they can also figure out others, and then set into place new and exciting projects geared towards those working on them, and provide them with mentorship and feedback to encourage them to work hard on everything, now and in the future. By doing all of these things, we're allowed to spark motivation, we're allowed to change, and we're allowed to have a better company and better employees. Thank you.